Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on what time of the day you are seeing this video. My name is Alana Valdez, and today I'm going to talk about presupposition and entailment, that is the topic from Unit 4 in Social Linguistics. So, first we need to know the two key concepts in pragmatics that are these, presupposition and entailment. In first place, we can say that presupposition is something the speaker assumes is already true before saying something. It depends on what the speaker believes the listener already knows. And on the other hand, entailment is something that logically follows from the sentence itself or what it said before. In this case, it doesn't depend on the speaker's beliefs, but on the meaning of the sentence. So first, we're going to see in more details presupposition. As I said before, is something the speaker assumes to be true, but not said directly. And in this case, speakers, but not sentences, have presupposition. For example,
Sammy's parents got a divorce.
In this case, Sammy's parents got divorced. We can presuppose or assume that they were engaged and they were a couple before getting divorced. One important characteristic of presupposition is called constancy under negation. This means that the presupposition usually stays true even if we change the sentence from affirmative to negative. For example,
We should not be alone in here.
No, we should not.
we should not be alone in here. It's like the negative sentence, but presuppose that they are still there. And in this case, we can say, for example, if the sentence A is true, the sentence B is going to be true. And the sentence B is going to be true even if the sentence A is not, like in the example that we saw before. So, now we have entailment. In this case, it's something that logically follows from a sentence, and it's a true-based relationship between propositions that are the unit of meaning which constitutes the subject matter of a stage and can be asserted to be true or false. In this case, differently from the presupposition, the sentences but not the speakers have entailment. For example,
our children will marry, our kingdoms unite.
When both men say our children will get married, and our kingdom unite, we can presuppose that both men are royalty and they have the ruling power of two different kingdoms. So, now we are going to see the different types of presupposition that we can find. In this case, there are 6 main types of presupposition. The first one is called existential presupposition, and this one assumes that a person or a thing exists. For example,
My house was just surrounded.
my house was just surrounded, presuppose that she has a house and the house is hers. Then we have the factive presupposition. These use verbs that imply something that is true, like know, realize, regret, be aware, be glad, or be sorry. For example,
I regret my actions. I regret offending my coworkers.
he said, I regret, to offend my coworkers, so it means that it's true, he offended his coworkers before. Then we have the non-factive presupposition. This expresses something that is assumed not to be true, and usually appears with verbs like dream, imagine, or pretend. For example,
He's pretending to be gay.
they say very assertive that he's pretending to be gay because maybe they know how a gay person looks, because maybe both are gay and they already know that he's actually not gay. They presuppose that he's actually not gay. Then we have the lexical presupposition, and this type comes from the meaning of certain words, like verbs stop, continue, start, again, or manage. like
I stopped smoking.
that presupposes that he used to smoke before, but right now he stopped to smoke. Then we have the structural presupposition. In this case, comes from grammatical structures, especially with the double H questions. For example,
Leonard?
When did he leave?
when did he leave? Presuppose that he left. Maybe they didn't know it or they didn't realize it, but he left, and that's also true. And for the last one, we have the counterfactual presupposition that is based on conditional sentences that are contrary to reality. For example,
I was like him, rich, important.
if I was like him, rich, important, presuppose that actually he's not like him, but he wanted to be like that, and that's not certain from his reality. Then we have the projection problem. This means that sometimes the presuppositions remain true even when the sentence becomes more complex. In other words, we can say that it's when what we say in the independent clause is true even if we add information to the dependent clause. In this phrase, for example, nobody realized that Kelly was ill. The dependent clause that it's nobody realized that can change or can have any other kind of information, while the independent clause that it's Kelly was ill is still true. But we can have also independent clauses that can be false. For example, if I change the verb, like I imagine that Kelly was ill, in this case, I imagine, so the independent clause is not real. Kelly is not ill. So in this case, it's false. And then we have the order entailments. That is when an utterance produces multiple logical consequences, and the speakers try to order them in terms of importance. The speaker tries to elevate one specific piece of entailed information to be the most critical or important for the listener to interpret, or the most important what we want the listener listen. For example,
I didn't say she stole my money. 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 Intonation changes meaning.
in this case, the entailments are ordered from the most specific information to the most general, and the speaker usually highlights the ones that is more important for the listener. And as you can say, each word can mean different things if the intonation is different from the same sentence. So yeah, that's all. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like it.